This is a movie based on a true story. The flight broke the record for the highest flight by humans at the time, 11,278 meters. Scientists used it to prove that the atmosphere has different layers of air. The hero's prototype is James Glaisher, a famous meteorologist in the 19th century. The heroine's prototype is the world-famous hot air balloonist Sophie Blanchard. The story begins with the hot air balloon taking off. They go on an adventure in the hot air balloon, but in midair, they throw the dog down. Luckily, the dog opens its parachute. The audience cheers. Amelia performs in the air to attract the audience. The man next to her, James, is a meteorological scientist, but they don't know that this flight almost killed them. At first, the hot air balloon is alright, and they can chat easily. Suddenly, they encounter a cumulonimbus cloud. When the hot air balloon reaches 1,600 meters high, thunder in the sky, the air pressure rapidly decreases, and the hot air balloon shakes violently. Amelia intends to lift the balloon upward to get rid of the danger, but she was thrown into the air without noticing. Fortunately, James finally pulled the woman up. Then, Amelia hurriedly threw the heavy objects outside to increase the stability of the basket. Then the storm continued, and they had to hold onto the rope. Before long, the balloon suddenly stabilized, and they saw the sun again through the clouds. When the balloon flew to 5,200 meters, it even met butterflies all over the sky. James was very excited that butterflies could fly higher than birds. When they flew to 7 kilometers, James began to shake, and his hands could no longer operate the instruments properly. Amelia tried to pull the rope down, but James tried to stop her. The balloon continued to rise to 8 kilometers, which was 15 degrees below zero. James took out a pigeon and tried to transmit data, but it failed. At this point, James was delirious. He threw the things in the basket to lose weight and insisted on flying up. Amelia quickly stopped him and reached for the valve to deflate, but did not expect that the valve was flouncing. Amelia climbed up to the balloon at 10,000 meters without any protection measures but a pre-tied safety rope. But she had no choice, because if she didn't open the balloon's vent, they would freeze to death. With her strong desire to survive, she finally reached the deflating valve. She knocked on the vent with her arm, but the valve didn't move at all. She stood up without hesitation at a hair-raising height of 10,000 meters and kicked the valve with her foot. 1, 2, 3. The valve finally opened a gap, and to prevent the valve from closing again, she took out a knife and cut her shoelace, using her shoe to jam the valve. Unfortunately, at this point, Amelia began to lose consciousness and fainted. As the pressure decreased, the balloon began to descend, and the woman slowly slid downward. When Amelia woke up again, she found herself suspended 10,000 meters in the air. She grabbed the safety rope and tried to call James in the basket. There was nothing she could do but to swing her body hard. After a while of effort, she finally seized the opportunity and returned to the basket. She came to James and tried to wake him up, but it didn't respond. Amelia couldn't help but cry, and just then he woke up. At this point, it suddenly began to snow heavily. Amelia suddenly realized that they were falling with the snow. This meant that they were accelerating their fall. At this point, they had to lose weight, and they began to throw things down, but the balloon was still accelerating its fall. James suggested that all climb on top, and he would cut the rope and throw the basket down. However, the basket was still shaking very much. James had to cut several ropes, turning it into an oversized parachute. It works. Their speed slows down. James falls first, but Amelia is dragged far away by her parachute. When she wakes up again, she screams for James' name. Luckily, James is not dead. Finally, they hold each other and walk towards their dreams.